little did you know, a month before that, we had a secret wedding.
We eloped, suckers.
We celebrated our 3-year marriage anniversary.
I'm never afraid of running out of things to say to you. I'm never afraid of being bored with you.
What have been your challenges for the last 3 years? I felt like you and I had been fighting a lot.
We've been learning how to create a safe place for the other.
And we're still growing. We're not perfect by any means.
I don't think y'all think we're perfect. Welcome back to another episode of At Our Place with Megan and Sherell. I'm Sherell.
And I'm Megan.
What's up? What's up? I've been waiting.
Hey.
I've been waiting 10 minutes to do this.
That's so loud.
You're welcome.
Nobody wants to hear you slurping.
You guys know that's satisfying. You guys know.
Well,
you're welcome.
They don't even know what
I'm leaving it in. I'm leaving it in when I edit this.
They don't even know what it is.
You guys know what it is. Everybody knows. It's a classic sound.
No, like, are you drinking Sprite? Are you drinking root beer?
I'm drinking Zevia Cola, but it's like alternate sugar, so it's not so bad for you.
Nice. Yeah, Coca-Cola regular will
destroy everything you love.
Do
come for you.
I used to really, I still really like regular Coca-Cola, but
I'm more of a Pepsi girl.
But I tried to stop drinking soda after you told me that someone told you that a doctor told them.
Whoa, that's a whole lot.
That Coca-Cola is terrible.
I have a friend who
health.
went into a coma, and then the first thing that the neurologist said when she came out of it was, stop drinking Coke.
Yeah, so after that, I'm like scarred. I can't morally do it anymore. But
this isn't Coke, and I'm gonna drink it.
Yeah, no, I think the alternatives are great. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I've had rather a rough week. Cried several times. Been in my feels.
No. Yeah, that's rough.
But it's also been good. So, I just have to deal with some people make me cry, and that's life. So
yeah, yep, a little bit cryptic, but yes, I understand. You don't want to air all your dirty laundry.
Not trying to air all of my dirty laundry, but sometimes in life, people can make us sad, and so we have to draw boundaries with those people, and that's what I'm learning to do, is draw boundaries.
Nice.
So, what about you? How are you?
I can imagine that being a tough skill to develop.
I am 32 years old and I still don't have that skill, so I'm learning.
Oh, sorry, honey.
It's okay. But I've actually had a lot of fun this week too, so it hasn't been all bad.
Okay.
It's been quite good, actually. How are you?
This week's been a blur. I'm trying to even remember what happened. I'm doing well today. I tried to take some time since it's the weekend to, I don't know, just like sit outside and read my book and drink my coffee and, I don't know, take it slow. My coffee. Just tired. I've got this to catch you guys up, I have the pleasure of working on this really big freelance project outside of work. I'm a graphic designer, as y'all may
Wow,
or may
they
not.
didn't know that until now.
Yeah.
They knew you had a big job, but they didn't know what it was.
I wouldn't say a big job. I have a good job, but I also do freelance sometimes, and I got this big project outside of work. And so the past few weeks, Sherell has been trying to support me with that because I've literally been working every single evening after work
For like another 5 hours.
Yeah,
She'll go to bed at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
on a regular basis, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And I'm like, I can't stay up anymore.
I think it's finally slowed down but it was literally 2 weeks of, all right, I'm going to go to a coffee shop and then I'll stay up until midnight and then come home and then I'll work at home for 5 hours. And it's like been crazy. I kind of underestimated it a little bit. I was like, I got this big project. It's awesome. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most sleep deprived I've ever been.
You're making a whole magazine all by yourself. It's
a
huge project.
It's really, really big. But it's finally slowing down. I'm really thankful for it. I feel like I'm moving forward in my career, and you've been a big support. But it was kind of funny because the first week I started that, you were really sick.
I'm still sick.
You're still getting over like this kind of cough something.
It was this horrible virus from hell, and it's still sitting in my body. But
so it was like I was working all hours, and then you were sick all hours. And so I think Brene Brown talks about, what energy level you're at and how you can communicate that with your partner. If you're like a 2, like very, very low energy, or a 10, like
it was like at like 0.5.
You're at a 0.5. I was probably at a 3, which is still pretty low. Just very, very tired. And so that was fun. Yeah. We tried to have a lot of grace for each other, I think. But
that's fine. We made it happen. We basically bought a lot of really cheap sushi.
Oh, that was gross.
It was the only thing I was in the mood to eat. I was like sushi and ramen.
It was like
that's all I can eat. I can't eat anything else.
Yeah, we went to the store and got like this grocery store made sushi, and I don't know. It was kind of.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good, but it was also not terrible.
No. Anyway.
Babe, you failed to mention something giant that happened this week.
Our anniversary.
Yeah, our 3rd anniversary, and simultaneously our 5th anniversary.
Yes, so basically 8.
What? That's weird.
No, I'm just kidding. No. So it was 5-year anniversary of like being together, and then 3-year anniversary total of us being married.
Yep. We got married on the same day that was our dating anniversary, and we did it on purpose.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess this episode we'll just talk about love.
Love.
That 4-letter word. What?
You just got corny.
You've never heard that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, so some of you, if you knew about our wedding or came to our wedding, it was July 17th. But little did you know, a month before that, we had a secret wedding.
We eloped, suckers.
We eloped. We did it on our
Secret
own.
is out.
Yeah.
We went to the courthouse.
We went to the courthouse and got married.
We did, but then we didn't just go to the courthouse. We also went to our church, and our pastor married us in our church, which was really special.
Yeah. I feel like we should back up. So This episode's going to be a little bit of story time.
Story time with Megan and Sherell.
Oh, get your cozy blankets. Get your little night lights.
Get your Zevia.
Night lights. It's Monday morning, I think. Just get your Zevia. Is that even how you say it? Oh, it's like stevia. I think it's Zevia.
I'm going to say Zevia. I don't like Zevia.
Anyway. Can somebody clear that up for us? Very, very important. So going back to
yesteryear.
All the way back yesteryear, back to 2019. 2019, we met. We became best friends. We fell in love. At the end.
And y'all can listen to that story on a different episode.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. Mm-hmm. Super romantic. And then we officially said, okay, let's be girlfriends. You said, do you want to be my girlfriend? And
you said, yeah, sure.
I said, yeah, sure.
You said, you literally said, I guess. I think you said, I guess.
I was in that weird phase of like, I don't know if I'm queer. I guess I am. And technically what we're doing looks like dating. So
you were making out with my face. You had your side of the bed at my house. You were jealous if I talked to anybody else beside you. And you demanded all of my time and attention and affection.
Look, it could have been in a friend way. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So all roads led to... You guys are digging each other. You're going to be in love. That's that. So then you asked me to marry you, and then I asked you to marry me in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were getting ready for the wedding. We were like, let's save all this money. We don't want to go into more debt. We're getting, all the what are we going to do for the venue? And for some reason, I don't know, I feel like
we wanted to cash flow our whole wedding.
Yeah, and we were trying to be cost efficient and stuff, so I feel like it wasn't just like, here, drop a ton of money on a venue and then you're good. So we tried to cut a bunch of corners and make it all happen, and
we hustled.
Yeah, we did that wedding hustle.
Worked like 6 days a week and side jobs, and it was a lot.
It was a lot. It turned out beautifully, but before the wedding, you kept saying the process was so stressful because we had all the spreadsheets of the money.
She had
and
the spreadsheets.
Yes. And then it also was just all the logistical things of where's it going to be and where's everybody going to stay and all this stuff.
You weren't a bridezilla and neither was I, but I feel like we each had our little areas of stress and panic.
Yeah, it was stressful. I think that's a human emotion. If you have a whole event for over 100 people.
It's like the biggest event you will plan ever in your life.
Yeah, unless you're an event planner.
True. But I'm like, we've planned album release parties and things like that, and it's
true.
not the same.
It's not stressful in that way. Because there's a lot of expectations for weddings, and
when it's your wedding, it's even bigger and more stressful.
Yeah, and you want the cake to be perfect, and you want to find the perfect dress for me, or you finding your suit, and then everybody in the bridal party is going to wear this kind of thing. And oh my gosh, it was so good and also so stressful.
Yeah, because we had venues that were like, after we sent out all of our save the dates and invitations, then they were like, actually, there's going to be a problem because you can't fit the party bus in our parking lot. I can't fit that many cars there without hiring a security officer too. So cancel. And we've had venues like cancel on us after we already sent out all of our invitations. So we had to pivot.
We tried to put together all these pieces of the puzzle, and then basically a month before the wedding, or maybe month and a half, everything pretty much changed. Reception venue changed, ceremony venue changed like a day before the wedding.
Everything was insane.
Yeah, but
But the great thing about it was, like, the wedding, I call it the wedding.
The wedding.
That's the difference. We eloped. That's the day we got married. And then we had a wedding, which was like a big party with everybody.
Yeah.
And to everybody else, we did get married that day. But we knew we were already married, and that brought me a lot, like, just a hell of a lot of peace on the actual, like, wedding day.
So when I was leading up to of bringing up all those stressful moments, although we had like help from our bride's people and it was nice, all of that led to you multiple times.
Why are you pointing at me? What did he do?
Multiple times you were like, can we just elope? Can it just be...
Can we just stop doing this?
You were like, what's the point? I don't want to do a giant wedding party just for everybody else to have a good time when you and I can just go by ourselves and have a special elopement.
Like, we're just throwing a big party for everybody else. We're probably throwing a party of tens of thousands of dollars for nobody. I was like, this isn't for us. This is the most money I've ever spent on anything. It's not even for me.
And I kind of am like, I want the wedding fairy tale. I want to look like a princess, and I want all this stuff.
You did look like a princess. You looked, honestly, if the entire wedding was just so that I could see you walk down there, I would say the aisle, but like walk down the aisle towards me in that dress, worth it.
You're going to make me cry.
Aww.
She thinks I'm pretty.
That's not news to you.
No, it's like...
Baby, you're crying.
I'm trying not to because I'm going to mess up my makeup.
I have to kiss your ear when you have a face full of makeup on.
Oh, that's sweet. But no, it was really sweet, and I wanted it to be a magical wedding, and I hate to say it, but I grew up kind of a conventional little girly that was like, I want the magical wedding, and so...
Why is that bad?
I don't know. I wasn't like dreaming about it a ton, but it's more of like when I have a wedding, if I have a wedding, wouldn't that be nice? So,
well, I gotta admit, I was in a slightly cynical place at that point, because not only was planning the wedding stressful at that point, but most of my family wasn't coming. Yeah. So it was like this really deep grief that I was going through. And I had to like kind of put my guard up during the whole wedding planning so I didn't just crumble, because I had to like work a ton so we could pay for this thing.
It was a lot of things all at once.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of things all at once, but I was going through, like, my parents aren't going to be there, my siblings aren't going to be there, like, aunts and uncles that I expected to be there won't be there. So I was going through all of this grief. You know, friends, like, heart friends that I thought were ride or die at one point in my life, they weren't coming.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, it sounds sad when you say it all like that, but it truly was like
It was sad.
one after the other phone calls with people of, hey, I'm engaged, and just like one after the other of people that didn't approve of us or didn't feel comfortable coming or just didn't acknowledge that we were engaged. And it was like,
or even just the ones like who just genuinely couldn't come because they lived in a different country or a part of the country that they couldn't come.
Yeah, you have a lot of grace for everybody. I have grace for everybody, but yeah, I could see that hard for you. And then for me, it was like my brother and sister walked me down the aisle, and it's like, that's very unconventional. I'm very, very happy that my parents decided to come, but you know, they also had a tough time with us. Our families are both Christian and Christian background, so anyway, there's a lot going on.
There was a lot going on. So I say all of that because that was a giant factor for why I just wanted to do something with just you and I.
Yes.
Because I felt like this big day is largely for other people to celebrate us, and that's awesome. But my people aren't really, you know, like the people that I wanted to be there aren't going to be there.
Some of them. We had a lot of people there.
Everybody that was there is like our community and our heart friends. It's like our chosen family was there, but my actual family, most of them weren't. And that was hard. So I wanted to just elope and do something with just you and I, just, you know, just us. No pressure.
And I think for me, the wedding that we had July 17th with all of our friends and our chosen family, our community, and some of our actual family, like whoever came there, I think that was really fulfilling for me. Like I was almost on the other side of, I don't want to elope because I thrive with seeing all the people around me and supporting me. I tend to kind of fall into like, oh, I'm all by myself. I know that's not true, but it just felt really
well, we also had just gone through like COVID.
Yeah, that's true.
And like a year and a half of isolation.
Yeah, and I wanted like all of your really close friends and all of my really close friends to meet because we felt like they would all get along really well. And so
I don't think there was any point where I didn't want to have a wedding.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have something that was just the two of us.
Yeah.
Also.
So I think that was almost like our first compromise. I don't know. Like we did both.
We've compromised way before that. Remember when you threw out my stuff when we moved in together? Remember when you convinced me to get a Kindle and get rid of almost all of my books?
Okay, you didn't get rid of almost all your books. You had a lot of books.
Yeah, and now I don't, and
no,
I have a Kindle.
You still have a lot of books in my book.
You were so corny.
Okay. I just meant like at the start
Yes,
of our marriage.
The start of our marriage was a compromise. That sounds like not pleasant.
No, it was. I think it was pleasant. So we went to our. It was nice to like do all of the legal stuff beforehand because I didn't realize it would be a little bit complicated. But
yeah,
we went to the courthouse, or we went to the Habit for food. Was that before or after?
That was before because we had to go across the street to get our marriage license.
Yeah, I went to Goodwill and I got this like dress for the wedding. Like we dressed up nice for the wedding, but it wasn't our.
It was like Goodwill stuff. It wasn't like our actual like tux and dress and all that stuff.
I got this super nice embroidered type of black and white dress, and you were wearing something. I have a video of it, but essentially it was just you and me, and then our pastor and nobody else in our church, and it was really healing because he said a lot of things to us privately of like, God approves your marriage and you two are holy and you're going to do great things together. And I don't know.
Which was it was huge for us because both of our stories, like our backgrounds, our faith backgrounds have tried to like shut us out of our faith because of our sexuality. So to hear our pastor affirm our marriage before God in our church was just so powerful and healing.
Yeah, it was really, really beautiful. Then we went to our favorite little bed and breakfast type place, and yeah, it was just a wonderful, wonderful little time.
We got room service, which was amazing. That was our first time doing room service.
Yeah, I felt super fancy.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was just like this small little thing just for us, and then the next day, like we danced, we walked around, we found like a little tea room in a greenhouse and just chatted and enjoyed and had our morning coffees.
Yeah, so
it was perfect.
It was perfect. Something I wanted to talk about, because a lot of people have brought it up to us actually, is our last name.
Oh, our last name's Stoneson.
The end. No. We chose the last name Stoneson, which is originally, my last name was Steinke, which is German roots, and it means stone cutter, which
would have been a cool last name too, just saying.
Stone cutters. Yeah. And then your last name was Davidson. And I think a lot of couples go through this where they're like, I don't know if I should take their last name or if we should hyphenate, but then sometimes the name can get really long. But then if I take their last name, it's like I'm becoming a whole different person.
We already had, in my family, we already had a Megan Davidson, so it would have been funny if we had two.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to be Sherell Steinke, to be honest. Yeah. It just sounded weird. I was like, I don't want to be Sherell Steinke.
I feel like Megan Davidson sounded weird too for me. Well, it's like you like feel like a whole different person if you take your spouse's last name. I don't know.
Which I feel like if you're in a hetero relationship, you might be more mentally prepared for that. But I was like, I've been Sherell Davidson my whole life, and now you want me to be Sherell Steinke. Yeah, that doesn't feel quite right. It felt like I was leaving my family to join your family.
Yeah.
When what I really wanted was to have a new family with you.
We want to be two equal partners. I will say sometimes it could work if one person has a really cool last name. But I don't know. I think Davidson's a nice last name. But
it's a dope last name.
It's very cool. For my last name, my whole life, everybody call me Stinky. And it's not fair, but it's how it is.
It's just because Americans can't pronounce they can't pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, Steinke. I think there's a lot of last names that are cool that are not, I don't know, American names or English names. Names that are easy to pronounce. They can be really cool. My name is not really cool when people don't know how to pronounce it, because sometimes they'll straight up say Stinky and then they realize it afterwards.
They giggle about it. Even when we got our first vaccines, they were like giggling. They were like, Megan Stinky.
They were trying to figure out how to pronounce it, and I'm just like,
that's the first time I ever saw somebody do that. I was like, they're grown adults who are nurses and they're giggling at you.
I told you my whole life. I
had never experienced it.
Yeah. But the worst one is when, this is a tangent, but the worst one is when people don't laugh at my name because how it's spelled, it looks like it could be Stinky. But they do say, hey, does anybody ever think that your last name...
It's a fair question.
In that, it almost makes me feel bad. So anyway, I wanted to have a different cool last name.
I would never say that to you.
I feel like you have. All that to say, I appreciate my family and my roots, but combining our names was a cool idea, and we did have to like legally, individually change our names. Just logistics for you if you're ever thinking about doing that with your partner.
We had to stand before a judge, two judges.
It's because
and run ads through the newspaper.
Yeah, it's a long and kind of expensive process. But if you have the same letters in your last names, you can combine them to make a new one, but we just like had to change our names. So
it's kind of like that game Hangman.
Yeah, it's like if your name has these letters and your name has these letters on your marriage certificate, you can combine them. So it was a whole thing, but a lot of people come up to us or talk about how we came up with a new last name together. And I think for our future kids, like, it just would have been too much to have a hyphen. That's just my opinion.
Stinky Davidson. Honestly, it's just because my siblings are immature. So when we showed up to the family reunion, they'd say, "Here come the Stinky Davidsons," and I was not about to do that.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. Anyway, back to our wedding and marriage and everything. We celebrated our 3-year marriage anniversary on June 9th, and we went out to lunch and dinner, and we sat by the ocean, and I had a really nice time.
We basically did whatever we wanted to.
Yeah, it was really low key.
We spent it. I didn't think it was low key. We went to a really fancy dinner.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we didn't go on any big trips, or we didn't, I don't know, we just stayed in town, like a staycation kind of thing.
Yes, that's what happens when you live in a vacation town. You can just stay there and you can go on vacation. No, it was really fun. I think it was restful. I think it was nice to reconnect with you.
Yeah.
We didn't do any like big elaborate things, and it's kind of awkward because in my head I look at these people with these marriages for a long time, and they seem to make a big deal about anniversaries. Like my parents, your parents. My dad took my mom to Disneyland, and then he took her on a cruise. Like, they do big things for their anniversaries. Your parents went to like Fiji or something.
Well, yeah, but they've been married for how long?
I know, but in my head I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, your dad's bought your mom these crazy pieces of jewelry, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy you dinner. And it's not because we can't do that stuff. It just kind of felt like really, really nice just to be here with you and spend the day doing stuff that we loved in one of our favorite places.
I felt satisfied with it.
I'm glad you were satisfied.
I'm more of like a frugal
Super glad
person,
you were satisfied on your anniversary.
Okay. Anyway, so how, I guess kind of like the past 3 years, I feel like 3 years is a marker for marriages.
Is it?
Is it?
I feel like it's a filler year.
Maybe. I just like the number 3.
I'm going to celebrate every year with you, though, so I like it.
Oh. So what have been your highlights for the last 3 years? Because, or maybe should we start with the challenges? Because that's more saucy.
Dealing with our families has been a challenge.
Your face, you made it look like you're getting away with something.
No, I think in the last 3 years, especially year 1, we had to learn boundaries. Because we had homophobic family, and then we also had family that wanted to spoil you and do like you didn't. Megan doesn't have any you don't have a ton of older siblings that are married.
Okay.
You don't have
this
any.
Is true.
You're the only kid
that's first
you're
to
the
be
first
wed.
married. So that separation, like your parents learned how to let go of you and let you be married.
Oh.
And you learned to stop being quite so attached to them.
I got a new phone plan with you. That's pretty much the only thing that I
stop asking your parents to pay for stuff for us.
I never did that. I think it was more of
it was like little things.
We had an account on my parents' Netflix and stuff like that.
You had all of these little attachments to your family, and I was like, you're married.
It's funny
because your own.
That bugged you, but it didn't bug me. I don't know. It's like to your family and your background, that's kind of uncommon.
No, it's good to hustle and share things. It's just more of like, how do I say this gently?
I don't know.
You can be quite attached to your parents and they can be like, that's our Megan.
Hey, they love, my parents love
They
me,
love
my
hard.
siblings.
They love hard and they love generously, and I've definitely benefited from it. It's just that's one of the things I feel like was hard, was like learning for you to like create something new with me instead of just pulling me into what already exists with your family.
Yeah, it's kind of like you and I started our own little family unit.
Yes.
And that was a little bit of an adjustment getting into that mindset, I guess. Yeah, and I think our wedding was especially hard with family, like we've mentioned. So after that, for the past 3 years, it's been a slow and steady figuring out our relationship with our families, growing relationships in certain ways, learning new things about ourselves with that. Yeah, I think we've kind of learned a lot about, I don't know, what we need in our relationships, even our friendships too, of like what we need as a married couple and individually.
Mm-hmm. I think that it might be kind of normal, but the first year of us being married was very like, isolating is not the term, but we were building a home and family together. So I don't think I invested that deeply into friendships that year.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, we looked up and we're like, why is it just the two of us?
Yeah, we're like, we're lonely.
And we have amazing friends, but it was like, I haven't hung out with you in 3 months, you know?
Yeah.
So we looked up and we realized we needed a bigger community than just the two of us. And I've heard that's normal. I heard it's normal to, when you first get married, to kind of just go into like a little bubble.
Yeah, we liked our little bubble. You and I started as best friends, and we can entertain each other until, you know,
like
the
we're
end of
perfectly
time.
satisfied with just the two of us.
Yeah.
You know, we still are to this day. It's like, I'm never afraid of running out of things to say to you. I'm never afraid of being bored with you. Not that it's your job to entertain me. It's just we are best friends.
Yeah.
So our whole marriage is based off of our friendship, and we are perfectly great, just the two of us. But we also have a bigger and more beautiful life when we go beyond just the two of us in our little house, which is why you guys are here at our place.
Yes, join us. I think one of the biggest challenges, not to keep going on the same thing, but one of the biggest challenges that we face together is our finances and getting on the same page with that.
Ooh, yeah, that was hard.
And in case anybody's curious, I know a lot of people when they get married, they keep their separate accounts and stuff. We decided to go all in and have a joint account and figure out our finances together.
And we're a lot better off that way.
It felt like we weren't better off at the start, but then like we got into it.
Well, what I'm saying is we're a lot more efficient with our money now than we were back then.
Yes, we grew a lot with each other in that way. Another challenge for me was finding my own individuality within our marriage. And
what does that mean?
Me apart from you.
No, that's awesome, but like, what do you mean?
I just mean it came to light in our marriage that I tend to lean on us a lot. I tend to find safety in you with...
Like I'm your little security blanket.
Yeah, when we go to outings or with our friends, I find a certain security with having you there just socially. So I'm not like afraid of being drained socially. But I think in the past year especially, I've thought to myself, I need friendships and connections outside of us, and I need interests outside of us. And so I'm still definitely figuring that out, but I think you're pretty good at that. I don't know. You're not a you're not afraid of going out and having your own things?
No, I think I pretty regularly go meet people for lunch and do stuff, and I just noticed I do that.
Yeah.
And I don't ask. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to lunch with so and so this week.
Yeah.
So
You've always been pretty good at that. So
I get filled up when I'm out in the world with people, like just in a relationship with people, and you get filled up from it, but not on a regular basis. Like you can easily get drained if we're talking to people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I do think that I rely on that a lot to get me out of things. Like, oh, I don't want to go out and do stuff because I'm going to get drained or XYZ. But I really do need my own things and connections. So I think that's something I've grown in within our marriage, because you really support me in that. Like, you get really excited for me if I try to go and do anything on my own.
Please, yes, that's amazing. Go for it. You can have a car. I'm like,
Yeah,
please
'cause-
go on a trip. Go on a trip with your girls. Go, please.
Yeah, and that's really nice, and I feel like healthy, because you know that I don't normally do stuff like that. So
Yeah, and it's not because I'm trying to get rid of you or because I don't want to spend time with you or because I wouldn't enjoy going myself. I just really want you to have that, you know. I don't know why.
That's sweet.
Something that I've noticed we've grown in that was hard is since we've been married, it's kind of come to light more focusing on our mental health.
Yeah.
So we've learned way more about my neurodivergency, and we've learned more about you having different anxiety and stressors, you know?
Yeah, just like, yeah, when you join forces with somebody else, how you've reacted ever since you were a kid might come into play or be, you know, brought into play. Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yeah,
So-
but not just like childhood habits. I'm talking about like our like conditions, like mental health stuff. Because since we've been married, I got diagnosed with OCD, and I knew about like the PCSD before that, but I got diagnosed with OCD, and I learned more about my ADHD for the first time.
And I learned so much more about you in those ways, and how I can best, I don't know, not judge you or like not misunderstand you, and how we work differently in those ways. And
I've learned about you because especially when I was working night shift, I saw that you had some anxiety stuff, you know, like you had your own mental health things that you were working through, and you were learning. I don't know. I think for you, it's more of like habits you learned, like how behaviors you learned as a kid that you brought into adulthood. Like I've been learning with you about you and how you cope.
yeah, it's been a wild ride these past 3 years.
Yeah.
I think we're probably in the most good place that we've been. 5 years of just growing together individually, 5 years of learning how to communicate with each other, 5 years of just giving each other grace and support and encouragement, and messing up with each other and making each other mad and making up with each other. And it's been beautiful, and I think we've had a really great positive trajectory. So I'm excited for our 5th year anniversary, for our 10-year anniversary.
You skipped our 4th.
Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, if we're being honest with you, like so many people see people who are married and think, oh, well, you don't think your relationship is perfect and all that. Like,
I don't know if that's...
I've had friends who say, who just be real, like what's hard about your relationship, you know? Our relationship is not perfect. We've had to learn how to cultivate desire for each other, and how to practice being affectionate with each other.
You mentioned desire. I think you and I went through a lot more than the average person. I mean, maybe not, but everybody has their stuff. But you and I individually had like religious things and sexual things that we had to that didn't really fully come out until we explored that together. So like I had to get over a lot of things from purity culture and all of that stuff that I was brought up kind of knowing about how pure sexuality is. And I don't know, there was just a lot of mental barriers to even that side of our relationship that we've grown in a lot, and we still have a lot more room to grow and play around with each other. But I don't know. I just think there's more to explore with each other, which is exciting. But we've jumped over lots of obstacles with and for each other in that regard.
From my perspective, like I've had to heal a lot from trauma in the past in those areas. So I've had my own hangups that I've had to go to therapy early on and talk about. And when you're healing from trauma, it affects you in your sex life, you know? Like if you've had sexual trauma in your past, then you can have blockers in your sex life and think, you know, just the ways that I've needed you to love me when we've made love is very specific because I've been traumatized, you know?
Yeah.
And we've been learning that over the last 5 years of us being together. It's like, how do we create a safe place for each other when we're intimate with each other, and not even just that, but like in our home, like everything we do together in our home is intimate. And I feel like the last 3 years and the last 5 years of being together, we've been learning how to create a safe place for the other, where the other can just come and be loved here, you know?
Yeah.
I consciously think about how can I create a peaceful environment for you to come home and drop your shoulders and breathe deep, maybe for the first time that day.
Oh.
And, you know, just come into my arms and get hugged and just be loved. And I think that's been, I feel like that's been a big part of our marriage, is like not just in the bedroom, but just in our home and in our relationship at large. Like we are trying to, especially in the last few years, like just cultivate peace in our home so that the other can just feel safety and freedom and celebration and joy here. And that's what we want our home to feel like. So we've been leaning into that. I do know year one, not of our marriage, but our relationship, definitely didn't know how to do that with each other. Definitely wasn't on the agenda. Way too much ego was in the way.
Yeah.
But what about you? Like, what do you think has kind of been like...
You went back, so now I want to go back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
One more thing I'm going to say. Last thing. No. But you were talking about you getting therapy and all that stuff. I also, in the first couple of years of our relationship and probably also into our marriage, got therapy a couple of times because... Oh, yeah, I know that for sure. I got therapy after
you had
we
a
got
life
married.
coach you had a life coach while we were engaged, and then you went to a therapist.
I thought they were both therapists.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, did I do something I didn't know? But no, I for you guys, just being real, since that you mentioned people want us to be real, so I'm going to be real.
She was fake before.
Fake. Everything is great.
Perfect.
It's perfect. So when I got therapy, it was because I felt like you and I had been fighting a lot. And
which time was this? Like what year?
I believe this was the first year of marriage.
Ooh,
because
wait.
we lived at this place, at our place.
We were fighting.
But it was still a while ago. I mean, we still do to this day have arguments. But
yeah, we're strong personalities when you're annoying, so...
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. Don't come for me.
Are we about to have a fight right now? But I had this moment where we were fighting about really stupid things, and it was getting really intense with our feelings, and I felt like I didn't know how to deal with my own feelings. And so I found somebody on BetterHelp, and this was probably just for about a couple of months maybe that I was doing it, but she helped me. I would give her scenarios of we fought about the tuna can. And then she was like, what do you mean? And it's like, well, I like tuna. So I opened the tuna can and Sherell said, ew, gross, tuna. And then I said, why are you acting like this is gross that I'm eating tuna? And that's this whole
because I was
thing.
a vegetarian and it smelled gross.
Yeah. So I got all offended and defensive, and then you got all angry at why it's blah blah blah. And then we would get into a fight over something so silly.
So me saying, tuna.
And that's just one small example. So here's the ugly truth about it, which a lot of people, and I know this for a fact because I just finished watching Married at First Sight. A lot of people think that going into marriage, it's gonna be, how do I put this? You're gonna have fights, but then you're gonna make up, and it's not gonna be that intense. It can be intense. And you can have emotions or anger or outbursts that you didn't know. You can cry like a little baby. You can stomp your feet like a little toddler. You can want to run out the door and slam the door like a little child. You can do a lot of things that you did not expect when you haven't had that relationship experience.
Yeah, like, because you can't get rid of the person. They're here. You married them. That's why.
Yeah.
When you're just single, it's like, you pissed me the fuck off. Now I'm going to leave or ask you to leave.
Yeah. And maybe this is a relationship thing because I had never been in a long-term relationship before being with you and then marrying you. So all of this stuff about regulating my emotions and all of that, being able to communicate effectively.
You just threw a whole fit.
I didn't know any of that until I got together with you. So yeah. I met with this therapist and I was like, I get out of control. I start crying. I start being like, why don't you want to take care of me?
You
like
start flailing your arms and pulling at your hair and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus I'm like, where's the line between just me feeling these true emotions, but then also like, are all of these like white tears? Am I like wanting to, we're an interracial couple. So I'm like, am I pulling that card? I don't even know if I'm abusing that in that way, if I'm wanting you to take care of me. So there's so many layers that people don't realize before they get into a marriage or a relationship. And then they're in it and they're like, this can't be normal. This cannot be normal. Yeah, this is crazy.
And then you can spiral from there. And then be like, there's something drastically wrong with me and with my marriage because this cannot be normal. And we're just going to be your friends and tell you that that's all fucking normal. It's all normal. Guess what? Every one of our married friends has had fights like this and conversations like this. Mm-hmm. Our parents have. I've got front row seat to my parents doing that. Like, yeah. It's normal.
My parents hid all of their conflicts. Like they had it in private settings, so I didn't even know that but marriage could get like that.
Now that we're adults, when we're around your parents, guess what? They bicker and they argue and they pick at each other all the time. Like now we have a front row seat to that.
Yeah, but if any of you haven't like tried therapy, which a lot of you probably have because our listeners are
healthy.
Well, I don't want to call anybody out that's like hasn't
go get therapy. You know you need it.
I feel like personally it genuinely helped me in those times because my therapist taught me literally how to regulate my own emotions, how to, put a wet cloth on my face or tense up and then relax and then your body just relaxes. Like all these little skills of like literally takes me into a different mindset even when I'm the most resistant because my emotions have just hijacked my body. So that being said,
that's huge. Good for you, baby.
That's the ugly truth of
what you've been learning.
And there's
not ugly. It's just true.
Yeah, but people hide it because it's ugly. Like you don't want to show people when you have outbursts because you and your partner started fighting over something stupid and now you feel like you're not good enough. It's like why do we go there?
I love that you're a human. The thing is, like. No, seriously. Everybody thinks that you're like Oh, it's Megan. It's Megan Stone. She's
Megan.
so sweet. She's so sweet.
Megan.
Megan. She's so sweet. She's so perfect. She's so kind. Megan. I'm like, she is. She is all of those things. But the thing I love about my wife is that she's real.
Oh.
You know, she's my best friend. I know her better than anybody else on this planet. And she's so real. Like, you are so real. You have a whole universe inside of you.
Aww.
And I'm constantly learning more about you. Learn something new every day, like I did last night.
I'm not even gonna go into last night because I'm not even gonna go into last night because it was just funny, but we need to move on.
Anyway,
yeah,
sweet, and another big thing I've been learning in our marriage is to trust you, because year one, like, you're the first healthy relationship I've had, like healthy romantic relationship I've had. And obviously you're the first person I've ever married.
You
and
too.
the last. But I didn't know how to like trust that you would still be here. So I worked with my therapist to go through like the worst case scenarios, because I would have these like when we would fight, it's like, I can't let this go. Well, why not? Because I'm afraid that she's going to leave me. I'm afraid that she's going to judge me. I'm afraid that she's going to hurt me. Like, I had just like this fear of abandonment and fear of rejection really, really deep, adopted kid. And I learned with my therapist to run through the scenarios and be like, what's the proof that Megan loves you? Does that line up with the people who have hurt you? No. Okay, then you're just gonna have to trust her. That even when she's upset with you, she's not leaving you, she's not abandoning you, she's not trying to hurt you, she's not out to get you.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing that I learned in the last 3 years.
Yep.
So yeah.
And we're still growing. We're not perfect by any means. But
I don't think y'all think we're perfect. They listen to our podcast.
They're like, we don't even
like,
think
that
you guys
never
are perfect.
crossed our mind.
You guys are pretty messed up sometimes. The way you make fun of each other, and
Hey,
I don't know.
I love you.
I love you too.
What's one thing that you want for the future?
Okay.
Like in the next year. Next time we're talking to them about.
Should we do? Okay, let's do one highlight that we've had, and then we'll talk about one thing for the future. So a highlight that I've had in the past, well, to be honest, it's been a pretty tough year.
Rest in peace, Caius.
Our dog died of cancer.
I got injured. We had job shifts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Highlight. San Diego.
You stole my highlight.
Okay, we'll have a joint highlight.
Okay.
Our joint highlight is going to San Diego. We talked about it in one of our recent episodes. Yeah. Small town girls go to the big city.
I have a different highlight, but you can have San Diego.
Okay. Well, essentially, it was the first time in the past 2 years, because it's been a very rough 2 years, that we got to go on a getaway of sorts. I went for a work trip, but we stayed in a nice hotel.
But we turned it into a vacation.
Yeah, and it brought our souls to life in a way that I didn't expect.
And it wasn't for like, oh, we're in town for a friend's wedding or for a memorial or for like, it was just like, yeah, we're in town for just us.
It was something new and exciting. So I think actually that's going to tie into my thought for the future, and my hope for the future is another thing that's just new and exciting for us, like travel wise, even if it's to go visit a friend.
I was going to say, a baby?
We are talking about our future family, but it's very early stages.
So we're not going to say anything else other than.
Yeah. It's bringing up a lot of weird emotions for me, and I have to figure out what that means.
Parenthood is bringing up Megan's fears.
It's like, what does it all mean? But anyway,
You've been randomly just crying like, I don't know what to teach our child. I don't know why I
don't know if I want to have a child, but at the same time I know that we do want one, but then what is it? Yeah. Anyway.
And I've been like, we don't have to talk about this for a few more years, and you're like, but that makes me sad.
Well, we need to talk about it. We're getting older, and we're 3 years married and all of this stuff.
So yeah, we're in the process.
But
we're in the process of researching and talking about it, and also healing our own insecurities so that we're more emotionally prepared for it.
So you go ahead. Your highlight.
My highlight is camping.
Yes, I love it.
We've been going on regular camping trips like once or twice a month. It's been really fun. And I grew up camping and then didn't do it at all as an adult because don't really know why. I think maybe because I didn't have any gear.
Yeah, hopefully you do a lot of fun things when you're a kid, like camping and this and that. But then you're an adult and you're like, oh, we should do these things. And then it's like, wait, I don't have the money or the things to do that.
Yeah, I was poor. In my 20s, I was poor. Like, I did a lot of traveling, but I would travel to friends, like, around the world and then crash with them.
Yeah.
So I didn't have my own, like, gear. I didn't have my own place to store it. And didn't have, like, the money to get it. So I didn't really camp in my 20s. But in my 30s, I'm a grown-up.
I'm a grown-up, and REI just had a bunch of sales.
I know, but not just that. Like, we've been over the last few years, like, getting more into camping, but especially this year, it's kind of like the hobby that we've chosen.
Yeah, and it's been, every time we've been getting better at it, and every time it's been more refreshing.
Yes. So, I don't know, it's been really good for me and my mental health, especially because my ankle is still broken. So I'm like not able to go I'm like a big hiker and I like to run on trails and do stuff in trails. Ironically, that is how I hurt myself in the first place. That's neither here nor there. So I'm like kind of limited in what I can do outdoors, but outdoors is where I get the most refreshed. So adding camping to our life has just been adding so much healing and joy and fun and just restoration to my month and to my world.
I love that.
So it's a highlight for me. And for the future, I just see more innovation and more fun.
Innovation.
Like you and I are a power team.
Power couple.
Yeah. I think you and I are a power team. Like, we are able to accomplish a lot and we don't really get tired of doing it with each other, you know?
Yeah. And we work. What?
We don't get tired of doing it with each other.
There's been a lot of talk in this episode. A lot of sexy talk.
Yup.
Whoa.
No, but we don't get tired of building things together and doing stuff together. And like physically, we do hit a wall together where we just veg out on Vampire Diaries and pizza. But
sometimes I feel bad. This is a tangent, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't want to watch anymore, and then you just have to deal with it because I want to like.
That's fine because I'm gonna watch the 3rd season of Bridgerton without you. I'm not gonna wait for you because you keep pausing shows.
Okay. Fine.
So that's a consequence.
Oh, poor me.
No, but what I hope for in this new future is like more innovation in our businesses, more innovation in the things that we care about. I want to move more towards our goals that were like 5 years off. I want to make them like 2 years off, or you know.
Yeah.
We've gone through a pretty rough couple of years with my job change, injuries, and our loss. And I'm excited to just have fun with you again. And I can feel it. I feel like the chapter switched for us. It
did switch. And maybe we'll go into this on another episode, but we keep mentioning the past couple of years, but yeah, it's just been one of those long seasons, kind of like a drought in a lot of ways. We've gone through grief, we've gone through financial hardships, but within weeks and months, we've just been completely blessed and showered with new things and new financial situations, and I don't know, we've just been blessed with a lot.
It's like we got caught up. That's how I feel. It's like the last few years of being frugal and paying off debt and being super careful, like we didn't get to build anything, like save really.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's as if Jesus fast forwarded, and it's like everything that we were like losing, we're just like caught up on. And it's not because people just gave it to us. It's because
it's just
God gave
random
it to us.
things.
It's like random opportunities and random stuff that God's just been like, here. So now it's like, I don't know. I feel like we are where we would have been at had we been able to do what we wanted to do the last few years.
Yeah. I think we should, dig into that more on another episode. But overall, going through challenges with your partner, it's like turning all the lights on. Like, it just shows you all of the problems that you have together that you need to work through, and all of the internal things individually you need to work through. And we grew a ton, and I don't know. I forgot what you were talking about. Sorry. But you're just looking forward to more innovation, more fun, new chapter.
I'm looking forward to a fun new chapter, and I feel the chapter moving. Like, we are not holding our breath for our finances. We actually have like what we need and more. Like, we're on to a whole new phase of our lives, saving for things that we didn't think we'd be able to.
Yeah.
We are happier. We are doing things together that's just really joyful. We've adjusted to just being the two of us with just Aliko.
Aliko's our dog, by the way, if you're new here.
And he's bored of us, and he keeps walking around and knocking things over.
Oh my gosh.
But it's just been this new, really fun and beautiful chapter, and I'm here for it, and I'm excited to see what we do with it. So
me too. Shall we break out a little message that we received from one of our amazing listeners?
So we have an email, baby. Tell them what our email is.
So our email, which we are going to be better at checking, is @ourplacepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send us a nice little note, like, it genuinely makes our day. It makes me happy. So do you want to read it?
Well, I want to shout out to Omar, who left us a 5-star review. So good job.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Omar. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then
really
here's a note from one of our listeners, one of you guys, our friend Abaya. Hi, Abaya.
Hey.
So they say, hi, Sherell and Megan. I am ready to experience that just right amount of hospitality at your place. I am listening to the podcast in order, and I would have loved to see you at Sensorio. Sensorio is a gig that we did a long time ago.
Winery. And I just realized that is referencing one of our, was that our very first episode?
Yeah, she went back.
Oh my gosh. And what episode are we on now? Like over 40 at least.
I don't know. But that's awesome.
They're going to have a lot of episodes
they're
to
gonna
go
have
through.
A lot of episodes to listen to. So
that's so amazing.
Yeah, so if you guys want a shout out, just email us at ourplacepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We will check it. Make sure you leave a 5-star review, no less. You guys know the drill. No less.
Do not leave us less than 5-star reviews, or else
she's going to have a BF. Comment if you know what that reference was.
Yes.
And follow us on all the things, subscribe on all the things so you don't miss an episode. And we'll see you next time.
Wait.
What, babe? I did the whole outro.
I've got an announcement.
Oh, now she does.
What do you mean now
What's the announcement?
Okay, babe.
Whoa.
We have 3 gig announcements.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you don't know, me and Sherell play music together, and it's awesome.
We are wives turned bandmates and now podcast hosts.
Nice. This is very planned. So June 23rd, we're playing from 12 to 3 p.m. at Halter Ranch Vineyards.
Ooh, that place is nice.
Yeah, it's in the outdoor little garden area by the what's it called? It's so pretty.
The gardens.
The wine is so good. You're gonna feel so
Love it.
bougie.
We have some here. We've drank it. It's delicious.
We've drinking it. Yes, it's so good. But yeah, you can hear us joke around, play some music together, relax, have that California vineyard experience. So we'll see you there on June 23rd. We also have July 5th through 6th.
Boo, 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 boo. In the woods, in the forest.
Come with us to Big Sur.
Hey, I've never been before. I'm actually pretty excited.
I've never been there either. We're playing on July 6th, which is the Saturday. I think we're playing in the morning. I'll have to check. But we're going to be staying out there in the woods. And I believe this is called Big Sur Freedom Fest.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
And it's very, if you're non-female identifying, it's still going to be great. It's very like female oriented. It's a whole lineup of all women artists.
And then we're friends with them and they're dope. So y'all should come.
It's going to be very musical, very in the woods.
We're going to be out there. We're going to be there with our pup. Come say hi.
Yeah. It's going to be really nice. I've never been to Big Sur either, so I'm excited to do that with you.
We get to stay in a cabin. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we get to stay at the retreat center, I think.
But y'all should come.
Our friend Jill Wild is putting it all on. She has a retreat center out there. So July 5th and 6th, Big Sur Freedom Fest. And you can probably come out for a part of it. I don't know. Yeah,
but get your tickets for that. I think if you find us on Instagram, you can get them.
Yes.
So
yeah, speaking of Rose's band on Instagram. And then last one, it's a bit farther out, July 13th, we're playing at Slow Public Market.
Heyo.
Yeah, if you know where that is, that's what's up. We're playing 11 to 1. That's all my announcements. So we hope to see you there at one of those gigs. They're fun.
Yes, and we have now entered the summer series for our music.
Yep, summer gig series.
So come on out, see us, say hi, and we're excited about it.
Yep, that's it. And thank you guys for coming. We will see you in 2 weeks since we're doing these bi-weekly. And that's a wrap. Thanks for coming to our place, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Aren't you going to say goodbye?
I was. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.
See you next time.
See you next time.